to Bloody Good Chats, where for the next 20 or 30 minutes you're our best friend. So sit back, relax, and let's have a bloody good time.
Period.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Eliza
really
and I
good.
acting like we haven't spent all morning together and this is the first time we're saying hello. It'd be a bit like that in this household.
It do be a bit like that.
How are you guys? We hope you're going so well. We had our first Spotify comment the other day. That was really
Crazy.
exciting.
So exciting.
I feel like that's such a surreal moment. I don't know. I feel like so new to the world of Spotify. It's nice to get a little comment.
I know, we're just like little babies on there. Growing, flourishing, becoming more confident.
We are. We're little babies.
Anyway.
Spotify babies.
Today we're going to talk about some tips or some things that might help you if you are traveling at the moment, you're about to go traveling, you're planning on going traveling, or you're just in an environment that's somewhere completely new and you don't have access to your usual everyday things. Maybe you're visiting family, staying with a friend. Doesn't have to be a big, extravagant overseas trip. All are welcome here. All trips are welcome.
Yep, all trips. Wink, wink.
And we're just going to go through, because we've done quite a bit of traveling over our time, but first and foremost, let's do a little cycle check-in before we dive in.
I also just realised, guys, that I just took a really big sip of my cacao, like really close to the mic, so I'm so sorry if you just heard me like slurp and swallow that. Oh.
This episode is getting a bit... We've got trips and
slurping and
swallowing.
And let's move on before it gets any more out of hand.
What cycle day are you and how are you checking in today?
I think my cycle day might explain my lack of brain power. I'm cycle day 1 today. I got my period this morning. Yeah. Yeah, and I feel really good. I just feel like really chill. Like, I'm going to be honest, I haven't really moved much today. I've just sat down and kind of just like done some things, went out for coffee with Eliza, had a cookie, took the scenic route back home, listened to some music. It's been a great day, actually.
Nice. Gonna sit in the sun.
Gonna sit in the sun, and honestly, like, it's funny because I've been vlogging up to this point because I haven't
even noticed. So sneaky.
I know. I haven't been very on top of it, but we had like I had quite a stressful month, so I was intrigued to see what my period was going to be like. And guys, I'm impressed with my body. I'm really impressed. I'm like, wow, she's capable of doing the big, hard, stressful things, and she's also capable of slowing down and having a peaceful menstruation, which is something that I always used to struggle with. So that's really nice to have that confirmation.
Love that so much. I am cycle day 24. Yeah. And I'm feeling good. Today's the best day ever, as you know.
How is that study going?
Yeah, good.
That's
my
good.
little like sticky note though, I did orange sticky note and pink pen, so you can't really I don't know if it's faded in the sun because it's on my mirror, or I just did a really bad color combination, but I know what it is, and I've been saying it, and it feels good. Feels really good. But cycle talk, I'm feeling good. I've been back in the gym this week, which has been very exciting for me, and yeah, I've just been feeling good. I don't really have much else to report on, guys. I'm so sorry.
What have you been training in the gym?
Oh, I've been training. I did legs on Monday, and then arms this morning.
Nice.
And then I've got legs tomorrow.
Yeah, I might join tomorrow, actually.
Hell yeah,
feeling
girlfriend.
good. Up for it. I feel like so far so good, but glad to hear you're feeling good. I feel like that's kind of done a 180 since some of the previous potty check-ins.
Yeah.
Also, in regards to your sticky note, I used to, when I was at school, if I had to remember something and I didn't have time to like write it down, I'd just write a line on my hand and I'd be like, I know what that means. Like, I'll remember to do it. And then I'd always get home and be like, why the fuck do I have a line on my hand?
Oh my
and
God.
I'd never remember what it was. So it's
As if you just wouldn't write the thing.
I was a busy schoolgirl. I had stuff to do. I had classes to whack.
Only got time for a line.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't age well.
No.
Anyway,
No more lines on your hands.
Or anywhere else either.
Great.
Yeah, currently, in this time of my life. That's what we want to hear.
So good.
Anyway, speaking of lines.
Traffic lines.
Traffic lines.
Plane lines.
Yeah, the runway.
Yeah.
Let's talk about travel. So Eliza did give you guys a bit of an overview of why we think we're qualified to talk about this topic, and that is because we have done a lot of travel. Eliza more so than myself. Tell us your story, because I think and I know you're going to go, it's not, no one wants to know. We want to know. Tell us your story.
Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, I'm Eliza. My partner and I, Jessie, we were working a sales job at a company called Employment Hero. Shout out to you guys. And they had a team in the UK, and it's a fully remote business. So it's a business that doesn't have an office. So you could work from anywhere, and the same rules applied in the UK. So we thought, this is a great opportunity. Some of our friends moved to London, and we were like, we can go into a role that we know pays well in a company that we like. We're not tied to any location, and when you are in Europe, there's so many countries at your doorstep. So it's very easy to move around. So that's what we did. We traveled for 18 months, 9 of which Maya joined us, which I'm sure she'll fill you in a moment. And the first 9 months of that was really, really busy. I'd been to Europe once, so we did lots. I think we went to like 18 countries in 9 months,
That's
which is
insane.
Crazy. Lots of moving around.
Whilst working a full-time sales job. So there was lots of stressful moments, lots of fun moments, but I think because we were moving around so regularly, we got some things down pat, which we'll share with you today. Yeah.
But yeah, after 9 months, Maya you came and joined us.
Before I share mine though, tell everyone what you were living out of, because I think if you guys know Eliza, you love your nice things.
Yes, I do. So I'm a summer girl, so that's an upper hand that we did have, is that we were always trying to travel to places with a warm climate. And the good thing about traveling to somewhere with a warm climate is you don't need as many clothes. And like a little summer top you can scrunch up into the tiniest thing ever, especially because I love my linen and stuff like that. You can just kind of scrunch it up and shove it in your boots, and you get very creative with where you can pack some stuff. But I had a little carry-on bag, and I lived out of that for 18 months, and a backpack, a little tiny backpack with my laptop and stuff. And yeah, I just made it work.
It was like a magic show every time you unpack that thing.
I did overtake some of Jessie's suitcase. I'd be like, I'll pack your suitcase, and then I'd shove in 10 of my shirts.
He'd be like, deal, I don't have to pack my suitcase, go for it.
Yeah, but you do make it work. It's interesting coming back now, because looking at my wardrobe now, I'm like, I don't have enough clothes.
You accumulate so much so quickly as well.
So quickly.
It's quite terrifying. Yeah. Well, that was one piece of the whole puzzle, was trying to I feel like you'd go out and everyone around you, especially if you went to Amsterdam, for example, I feel like everyone was dressed so nicely there, and we're wearing the same clothes that we've worn for the last 4 months.
Yeah, it was a bit depressing.
Yeah, it's things like that you take, I feel like you take for granted, waking up in the morning and having your whole wardrobe to look through. You're like, wow, this is stuff that you don't usually think about when you go traveling. It really puts it into perspective. But I joined Jessie and Eliza for 9 months, and Eliza and I had actually started Souls in Sync before she had decided to go overseas. So when she left, we started taking Souls in Sync online, and Eliza was doing the virtual stuff, and I was doing the in-person women's circles, which is what started SIS. And then we had the conversation of if we want to go all in, we need to be together. So that's what motivated me to be I want to go traveling. It looks like what you guys are doing is absolutely epic. I'll come over and meet you, and we can both quit our jobs and just travel and do full-time Souls in Sync. And so that's what we did. I met Eliza in London the same day we flew to Morocco. We spent 2 weeks there, and then we did a month in Turkey, and we just kind of hopped around for 9 months. And so that's 9 cycles essentially that we had overseas, and some of the best periods I've ever had, mind you. Even though we were in environments that were out of our control a lot of the time.
And some of the worst. There was a few nasty ones in there.
There was a few strange like strange situations that we could go into, but maybe we'll save that for another day. Our strangest travel experiences, that could be quite a funny one.
For sure. One thing I wanted to preface as well, like before we maybe get into the tips, is I think there are going to be some overarching messages that you can take into every situation, but also the travel that we're kind of speaking to is more so when you're going like long periods of time without being in control of your environment. Like we were traveling for 9 months. Well, I was 18 months, and I think that you also need to put that into perspective, because girl, if you're going on a holiday for 10 days, go and enjoy yourself. Like, please do not stress. Like, these tips maybe are a bit more irrelevant. I think that's something that I want to speak to today, is I wish I was maybe a little bit more carefree being overseas. But I think I just wanted to preface by saying that if you're going on a holiday and you're like, I'm going to listen to this episode and make sure I set myself up as success, definitely still continue listening to it. I'm sure there's some things that you might want to grab and take, but just know if you're going away for, I'd say, a month or less, go and enjoy yourself and have the time of your life and do whatever you please,
I agree.
As long as you are safe, of course.
Yes. That's a good point.
Yes.
That's a very good point.
Because I think that's important.
We were trying to find a routine within a very unstructured life, I think, as well. So the tips, the rhythm that we kind of found for ourselves, I feel like we had to do that because we didn't actually have much structure to our lives. Like you'd kind of fall into routine and then it would be like, okay, pack up everything and move. Which was exhilarating and so much fun, but sometimes for our cyclical bodies and our feminine energy that loves a bit of calmness and stillness, that's actually a bit stressful. So tips
and tricks. I would say something that comes to mind for me is what I think we did quite well is set up shop quickly.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is maybe we're on a flight to Italy. Whilst we're at the airport first and foremost, Jesse was an amazing piece of the puzzle here. He was really great at researching the accommodation and making sure our accommodation was walking distance to shops. You know, all these things, it's all like that make your life easier when you get there. That's really important because obviously if you fly there and you're like, oh, this accommodation looks so cute, and then it's a 20-minute or like an hour walk to your grocery store, life's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to get fresh food, all of that stuff. So there's some behind the scenes stuff that went into this, and big shout out to Jessie for that. But first thing that like we would usually do is when we get there is we first and foremost would try to find an organic store close by, and if that wasn't always available to us, we'd find our closest grocery store. We found our closest butcher. I would love to try and find a gym near me because I really liked going to the gym, whereas Maya was happy to do yoga at home. I feel like we just tried to like figure out okay, get our bearings quite quickly, so the next day we could literally go to the supermarket, get our eggs, you know, and we'll speak to why we were getting our eggs and things like that. But I think that was a big part of just setting up shop. If you're in a new place, it might take you an hour to like research and figure out your bearings, but I think that's really important. Just takes the stress off in terms of being able to go do the other tips that we're about to walk through. So that was really helpful.
And I feel like snowballing off the back of Eliza's tip, so Jessie and Eliza had carry-on luggage, so they couldn't take like lots of liquids and food and things like that through. However, my big backpack was check-in, so I could put like, if we had leftover, for example, bin bags, like toothpaste, apple cider vinegar was always a big one. We would put them in my big bag, and I think that was something that, like, for me, that's important because I hate wasting stuff. Like, if you know me, I'm like using things until they're about to absolutely, like, Eliza bought me new undies for my birthday because they're literally like, my old ones are in shreds, and that's just kind of explains me. But I think that was also really handy because we would land, we'd be setting up shop, and then I'd be pulling out all these like essential items pretty much, and like just having them in the kitchen, so we could put some apple cider vinegar in our water. We had toothpaste to use and just all of those kinds of things as well. I feel like if you have the ability to bring some essentials with you, like, don't underestimate having that available, because obviously when you land and you like check in, you're so tired, and you're like going to the shop sometimes is the last thing ever. But if you have those things there, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the other foundational thing, this goes beyond just traveling, but cycle tracking is really, really important, because if you're going in blind, you don't know where you're at in your cycle, you don't know what that might mean, it's going to make things way harder to navigate, and you aren't able to prepare as much, because obviously if you're moving into your luteal phase or you're coming into your bleed, there's some things that you might want to do in advance to help set yourself up for success. But if you've got no idea where you're at in your cycle because you're not cycle tracking, you're just going to be going through each day, and then all of a sudden things get really tough, overwhelming, you're crying, you're calling your mum, you want to go home, things feel way crazier. Then sure, there might still be those situations that pop up.
Yeah.
However, I think a lot of those situations can potentially be avoided altogether if you're aware of where you're at and how you need to nourish yourself during that time.
Or when you're like, okay, I'm getting into that phase where my homesickness hits me more because I'm more sensitive, but you know that that's going to happen. So maybe you like reach out to your family and you're like, can we organize a group video call this week or something like that?
Yes. And then it puts context. You're not like, oh my God, I shouldn't be traveling, I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh no, this is a cyclical thing. I just get a little bit homesick the days before my bleed. I know I can just hold myself through that. I've booked in my family call, and when my bleed arrives, it's all going to be dandy, you know?
Exactly. And those feelings, like, they come up whether we're traveling or not as well. Like, I feel like even at home, sometimes I'm like...
Homesick.
I'm like... or homesick, but also travel sick. And I'm like, let's go traveling again. But all I wanted when I was traveling was to, like, find stability. So it's always those, like, conflicting energies. And then... Do you want to go?
I was going to say, also with cycle tracking, if you're a single gal, knowing when you're ovulating, maybe being aware when you might make a vulnerable or potentially regret. There's no regrets, but maybe if, you know, you have certain morals or values that you don't want to engage in certain activities, but certain times of the month it seems like a good idea, and then you beat yourself up for it. Obviously, no judgment, you can do whatever you want, but what I'm saying is that underlying message of knowing where you're at in your cycle might give you context. Also, if you are not on birth control, it means that you're aware of when you should be using protection.
The other thing I was going to add to cycle tracking is that we were using our written tracker. We've got a free one, and it's in the link of our bio. It was so entertaining going to foreign countries trying to find a printer to print. Eliza was so good at it, but I just have this image in my mind. We were in a town in Turkey and we're trying to print out our cycle trackers, and I just wonder what they thought we were doing in there. Literally. Because we were like so adamant. We were like, we tried to print them out in bulk, but we were always trying to find a print shop. Now that I think about it, we mustn't have printed enough out. I think it was like the language barrier, and I think we didn't want to be too like, no, we need this.
We need like 20.
But
it's really weird over in Europe. Like in Australia, we probably didn't search too hard, but in Australia there is like stores where it's just all outdoor stuff, mowers, tools, yada yada, and then there's stores where it's just books, paper, printing, whereas it was like
a combination of everything.
Weird.
You just walk into a shop and there's like food.
And it was like a printer behind the reception, and you have to email it to her and then print it. It was
but you can also buy an inflatable toy there.
Yes.
Like, very strange combination of things. Kind of get around it. Like, go off. If you found what works for you, go for it. But yeah, there were definitely some interesting places that we ended up in.
Yes. The other thing I think we should definitely touch on, which is something that I think is kind of the elephant in the room when it comes to travel. Well, there's probably two elephants in the room, one being sleep, but the other being food. I think the big one that people worry about the most is food, because obviously, and drinking, I guess, but when we're overseas, there's different foods. Maybe we're sensitive to those foods. Maybe we want to indulge in dessert every single day. Maybe there's parties, we're drinking. We're obviously, like, when you're traveling, it's a bit more indulgent than your, I guess, everyday life, I would say, majority of the time. So what are your things that you tried to focus on that helped you feel good in your body when it came to food and also consuming alcohol.
Yeah, good points. I feel like on reflection, we didn't go out for dinners that often. We were really good at doing what Eliza said and setting up shop, going and buying produce to, guys, I remember.
Almost too good. This is what I mean. We probably needed to shake ourselves and be, girl, you're in Europe, go out.
Yeah,
so
I remember.
Take this with a grain of salt.
When we were in Sicily, when we were in Sicily, we had this tiny kitchen. It literally had like one pan that was like a mini pan. And
Teflon pan.
Guys, we ate like cabbage and mince
and
potatoes, but like not baked potatoes because there was no oven. They were like fried potatoes. We ate that for a month consistently, and like we were opposite the most beautiful trattoria.
Trattoria. Oh, my Italian friends don't get angry at me.
Yeah, sorry guys. Trattoria.
Let's look this up. You keep talking.
The most beautiful place that served like homemade pasta, gnocchi, and meats and breads and this beautiful food. And we were opposite this restaurant and cooking this fucking cabbage, potatoes, and mince in our kitchen because we were obviously traveling. We're on a budget as well. Like you can't afford to go out for dinner every single night. But I think back to that pasta and I go, I would do anything for one more bowl of that pasta.
And it was from
Trattoria.
She's got a bit of an Aussie accent.
Trattoria.
So I think for us, like my biggest thing was definitely having that balance between eating out and then also cooking your own meals. The cooking your own meals gets pretty bland unless you're someone like me who saves the herbs and the salt and puts them in your backpack. But we would just have things like there was lots of hard-boiled eggs, lots of just plain meat and veg and Parmesan cheese and like whole foods, but it was very like minimal as to what those foods were. What about you when it comes to food?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like the same rules that we use. Well, rules, I say, that sounds really strict and disciplined, but guidelines is like eating whole foods was a big focus for us. I think another big focus was like making sure that we got 3 meals a day in is just, again, we spoke about this in a previous episode, but that's just like the bare minimum. And I think when you're traveling, especially if you're in full tourist mode, you're walking for hours on end, and life's so fun and yada 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 until it's not, because you realize you're freaking starving.
You're hangry.
Yeah, just thinking about like before you get into that crazy hangry state, can I stop in? Can I just walk to this supermarket and get a block of Parmesan cheese or a little tub of yogurt? It doesn't have to be
we always had stuff on hand, hey? We always had snacks. I would say Eliza's very good at that. I feel like you were the snack queen.
Well, I think because I'd been in situations where I'd been hangry and I was like, you're
not a good person.
Yeah, and especially in the airport where you're like, I'm hangry, and then you like I'm trying to find a healthy option, there's no healthy option, and then if you do find any option in the airport is like triple the cost of anywhere else, whether it's good or bad. So it just was like I've been in too many situations where I'm like, why don't I just take the extra 5 to 20 minutes? I would boil like 10 boiled eggs and take them to the airport with me. Fun fact, you can take food through the airport. It's just more so like fruits and vegetables. You kind of have to chuck everything out by the time you get out of the location that you just landed
unless
in.
you like claim it or something. One of my favourite memories from travel in regards to food is we were on a flight, don't know where we were going, don't know where we had just been. Were we going to Morocco? I think we might have been leaving Turkey.
Was it with Kobe?
I think we were with Kobe, but we were all sitting.
I think it was no, you were with us.
We were all in different seats on this plane, and I don't even think you and Jessie were together. I think you were maybe alone. Anyway, I'm sitting in between. I'm like in the middle seat in between these two strangers, and they're eating some like aeroplane food. And then Eliza, I see her cup walk down the aisle of the plane, and she's got this cup, and it's filled with Parmesan cheese and like meats and salami. And then you also had a bag of granola that you gave me as well. And you were like, have that, half of this bag is yours, and then pass it to Kobe. And I could just feel the people next to me were like looking at my food, and I just like, they were like who's this girl that's just delivered you this, and how to like pressing the button, like, can I get some of this? But that was so good, and it just like makes you feel nice knowing that you're eating good food, you're also not in that hangry state, and yeah, you're just chilling on a plane eating some salami.
Yeah, and on the topic of food, guys, as I said, using that overarching rule, eat the ingredient, not foods with the ingredient list.
Yeah.
And kind of is easier because you can't really read the ingredients in foreign countries because it's all in different languages.
Yeah.
But with that said, there are obviously foods that you're going to buy, like pastas or pasta sauce, that do have an ingredient list, and they're going to be in a foreign language. Google Translate is incredible. You can do the image version, like take a photo, and it translates it for you. You don't even need to take a photo, you just hover it over it and it will translate it in front of you. That was a lifesaver as well if you are someone that wants to be mindful of like the foods that you're eating and the ingredients. But overarching message so far is setting up shop, eating whole foods,
cycle tracking,
3 meals a day, and then obviously starting your day with a savoury breakfast.
Yes.
I remember we were in Amsterdam and we were staying at our friend's. He beautifully let us stay at his apartment in Amsterdam, and there was this famous bakery right near his house, and we all waddled our way there and got croissants. It was like tiramisu croissants and all. It was
like a cronut thing.
Yeah, it was like all of this crazy stuff. Delicious, so delicious. But I just remember we then walked back to his apartment, and we were kind of, you walk back, and then we sat and we were like, okay, let's just sit down and we'll figure out what we want to do for the day. I reckon like 4 hours passed because we were just scrolling through our phone. We had this massive sugar crash. And then when it came to wanting to do something, I was like, oh, I can't really be bothered.
Yeah.
And we were in Amsterdam for a weekend. Like for a weekend. Maya had never been there. Like we should have been out doing stuff.
And then you got so sick.
Yes,
you got so
I got really
sick.
And that's not saying the sugar made me sick, but who knows?
We did have we were on the drink that weekend though too, so that's probably definitely contributed to it. That was not a healthy weekend.
But this, the overarching message for those of you that don't know, when you eat a food, like a meal that is really high in sugar and carbs, it sends your blood sugar soaring, but what goes up must come down, and your blood sugar is in control of your energy levels. So when that crash happens, you feel tired, lethargic, you don't want to do anything, you're probably quite moody as well. And on top of that, your body is wanting to go and get more sugar and carbs after that crash. So you can reflect on your day and you're like, oh my God, I ate like crap today. And it's not because you have bad discipline, it's literally because of the meals that you were eating were creating those urges within your body. So where I'm going with this is go and have the cronuts, go and have the gelato, go and have whatever you like, but do it in a way that protects your blood sugar is going to make traveling so much easier because you do need a lot of energy. An easy way to do that is have a savoury breakfast first and then go have the cronut. That would have made the biggest difference if we just took, there was literally a convenience stores on the corner of his place and we didn't, we couldn't be all good, but it was just like a lesson.
We were like, it's just the weekend. We can just come here and then we'll sort ourselves out like later on. But it just goes to show that we did those things for a reason. I also wanted to speak to as well, I feel like with the food side of things, there was definitely times where, especially for me in Italy, I feel like we were eating so many pastas and pizzas and gelato. I really struggled with body image in Italy. Like I didn't feel good in my body. It was also cold. We're always wearing big jumpers and I just feel like I felt so much more frumpy and like full and bloated than I usually did. And I think it was Jesse had an idea. He was like, I'm gonna cut out like refined sugar for the week. And we cut out refined sugar. We were still like went and had like a few dinners out, but we were mainly eating our food at home, and then like our snacks were like dates with peanut butter and things like that. But guys, like cutting out the refined sugar and the processed shit, it cleared my head so much from the negative thoughts that I was having about myself, but it also made me feel so good. And TMI, I didn't go to the toilet in Italy for like a week. Do you remember that? I was like so constipated, and cutting out the refined sugar really helped that as well. And just like making sure that I was having more fiber and things like that. But just wanted to say, like, if you're indulging in like gelatos and like sweets, like if you're going on like a 10-day holiday, that's so fine. But I just feel like long term, your body kind of knows that that's not sustainable because there's so much like shit in artificial foods. Not saying that the foods over there are like all pumped with like synthetic like flavors and things like that, but a lot of like that shop bought stuff obviously is. But yeah, that definitely helped me, was that week where Jessie was like, let's cut out refined sugar, and I felt so much better. And there's nothing worse than traveling and like thinking about how you're looking. Like I just felt like that ruined it for me for like a few weeks there. I was so like just down.
100%. Love that insight.
It's honestly something that makes me like question going traveling now, because I'm like, I was in such like a bad headspace back then, and I'm like, I just don't want to go traveling and feel like that again. Like that's something that always comes up for me, and I know that I won't. Like that was just a period of time, but it like, I don't know, I have those like, do I want to go and travel and indulge, or do I want to be at home and like be in my routine? That's always an internal battle for me. Just thought I'd open up and share, guys, because
no, I love that vulnerable share. I think for sure, I think there was definitely times where I wish that I wasn't so controlling or so worried, and I think what, you know, we always say this, but what you think about comes about. So if you're feeling like your body's looking a certain way, you're just going to see more of that, which makes it really hard to get out of that place. But I think one thing that I would say might help you, me, or anyone listening in a situation like that is thinking about all the benefits that travel gives you in a health way as well. You're walking way more than usual. You're connecting with new people. Connection is one of the biggest and most important things for your health. You know, laughing, serotonin, dopamine, all of these things. Less cortisol most of the time, which really reduces inflammation on the body. You're outside a lot more. Vitamin D does so many things for your cells, your organs, your entire body. So I think just weighing up, okay, yes, I've had gelato 5 nights in a row, but I walked 15,000 steps today and yesterday and the day before, and I met this old guy. He made me feel so good and happy about life, and I think that those things, they actually have an influence on your health and even the way that you look. You know, when you're feeling good in your body and happy about life, you're glowing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think like having those reminders of like, yeah, I might not be able to do this, this, and this because I'm not at home, but holy heck, I'm getting this, this, and this.
Yeah. And guys, if I had someone saying that to me when we were traveling, like I feel like you only realize that stuff in hindsight.
Yes.
And if you're someone who needs to hear that, like write it down, screen record that bit of Eliza saying that, because honestly, I look back to traveling now and I'm like, that was honestly the time of my life. Like I wish I just gave less fucks, to be honest.
Yes. And we literally just watched a video this morning from this girl, Em on the Brain, and she was speaking about placebo and how there's been so many studies done on placebo, and it's something when they're rolling out new medicines and stuff, they have to really control the placebo people that are getting the placebo pill because it has such an influence. So there's so many things that they have to control. And she was saying one thing that she does is every morning when she's drinking her matcha, she will say, this matcha is nourishing every cell of my body and giving it life and energy. And she said because of that, it does exactly that. And I know this sounds woo-woo, but she is a neuroscientist and has so many studies to back this up. So why not say that about your gelato? Yeah. This gelato is going to make me so happy and energized and feel fulfilled in life.
I'm sharing it with my friends. I'm in a new country.
Exactly. And that's not me saying go and eat gelato every night and it's going to make you look and feel good. But I'm saying that you give meaning to that gelato. We give meaning, and why not give it a more positive meaning rather than a negative one? Like gelato is, I don't know why I think speaking about gelato so much, but gelato is one of the oldest, you know, it's like an Italian tradition. Of course we're going to have gelato. Like it is literally, like good gelato is just milk, cream, and sugar, which is not that bad for you. It's a lot of protein and there's a lot of good stuff in gelato. But yeah, we give this meaning and we demonize certain things. And God, traveling would be so much more fun if you didn't have that added pressure and put that added pressure on yourself.
Yeah, I do think, like, for me, it's hard I could say that. And then
so much easier said than done.
And putting it into practice, I'd be having an internal battle, but it's definitely such a good reminder.
Yeah.
And
that's why it just needs those moments of reflection. There's going to be times where you're like, I feel like shit for 2 weeks or whatever it's been. But maybe you chuck on this podcast, have a chat to your friend, write down the pros and cons in your journal. Sometimes you just need that little moment of reflection.
Yes, yeah.
We are, I'm going over time, but the other thing I think we should definitely touch on, well, the two things.
Should we say it at the same time? The next thing?
I was going to...
One word?
A word?
Oh.
I was going to say alcohol. I think we should just tie that together with food.
Yeah.
Alcohol, this is something that you're probably going to be indulging in more than usual. And I think, again, this is all comes down to your personal preference and what you want to be doing, and just having that conversation with yourself, like, am I here to get drunk and have really fun nights and maybe meet lots of people, and is that the kind of traveling that I want? And if so, own that, have the best time. Or is it, I want to have a mix of both, I want to be drinking some nights and then also have some chill nights, or this traveling season is a healing season for my life and I don't want to indulge in alcohol, etc., etc. There's no right or wrong, but what I would say is own what you want to do and know that that is okay, because yes, alcohol is not good for your health. We can't deny that. And yes, it may influence your cycle, but that's a decision that you have to make in yourself. It's not going to be a forever thing, hopefully, that you're indulging in alcohol every night potentially. But just own it. I think that's probably what Maya and I struggled with, is the owning it.
Yeah.
We were like, no, we won't drink. Oh, all of a sudden we want to drink. Oh no.
Also, because we're both each other's worst influence. Like, if Eliza says yes, I'm like, let's go. But yeah, I agree. I feel like there's no right or wrong if you're having that intention behind, like, I'm going to make some memories, I'm going to meet people, I'm going to have the time of my life, I'm going to go get drunk in beautiful places. Go for it. Also, like, think about the intention behind, like, imagine going to a winery and you're in a new country, you're learning about the land and how they grow the grapes, and then you're seeing it being made, and then you're sitting down having a wine with your friends. Have the fucking bottle. Have another bottle. Like, that's the best thing ever.
So good. So fun. As long as you're safe. Yes. Above all else, don't put yourself into silly situations. Drinking on your own, walking at night, home alone, all that stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like alcohol is a very individualized topic. Yeah. It's specific to what your intentions are, why you're going traveling, what you're wanting to do.
Yeah. And have that conversation with yourself, because it can get so easily swayed in different environments. So if you've set that intention before, I go away, I want to party hard, or I don't want to party hard, you can come back to that intention. Whereas like when you go into different environments, it's very easy to have that intention swayed, which is okay. If you fall off the bandwagon, don't stress.
I feel like if you're someone who's wanting to like not party, but you're going traveling with lots of people who do want to party, that's where it's like kind of difficult to stay true to yourself. Because I know for me, like if I was like, I'm staying sober and Eliza's like, have a shot, I'd be like, okay.
Yes. So maybe be intentional with the environments you put yourself in.
Because that definitely helps. Like Eliza and I were both very on the same page. Like we were traveling to build our business and like experience the world together. We weren't really fussed about drinking. Yes, we had some crazy nights. But they're still the nights that we talk about to this day, because they're so entertaining and they're so funny.
So funny.
Yeah. I'd have a bit more dignity if it weren't for those nights, but that's okay.
And then the last thing, you got two more things?
No, that was one.
Okay.
And then we got one more left.
Sleep.
Yeah, I was going to say sleep.
Okay, you go first.
So sleep is obviously so important, and it's so impacted because when you're traveling, you're jumping through different time zones. So it is one of those things that's, honestly, we maybe should have like brought that to your attention first, because our sleep cycle is very interconnected to our menstrual cycle, and any disturbances in our sleep cycle can affect our menstrual cycle. Our body is very, very interconnected if you haven't understood. But some of the things that I think the first thing that I would recommend is whatever accommodation you're in, just don't turn the lights on when the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Like, we would just wander around in the dark, honestly. Like, we would use as little lighting as possible. Eliza's partner, Jessie, like, hated us for it.
Like, I can't see
I can't
anything.
see, but we just, as soon as the sun goes down, you honour that and you just keep the lights off. Obviously, if you're in a hostel, that's where it's harder. So I would have that conversation with myself, like, do I want to invest in some blue light blocking glasses before going travelling? I think they would be really good too in airports and things like that as well.
Yeah, 100%. And then when you're in a new location trying to see the sunrise, obviously if you've had a few late nights or you need to catch up on some sleep, you don't need to get up at sunrise. It's just all you need to do in order to set your circadian rhythm is when you do wake up, just get outside and get some natural light in your eyes, whether that be at 9 a.m, midday or 6 a.m, whatever it is going on in your current travel regime.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is, you know, there's going to be sleep disturbances. There's nothing we can do about that. We're sleeping in new bedrooms, new streets. There's loud noises. There's uncomfortable beds.
Yeah.
You name it, it's there. So I think, you know, getting not the best night's sleep is just part of travel. At the end of the day, it does happen.
Hack, though, I've got a hack that I wish I had learnt when I was travelling. So, long story short, my beautiful roommate and her boyfriend, they love to stay up talking till crazy hours of the night. Not really crazy, but I can hear them talking and I can't sleep. So I've started sleeping with my headphones in. And yes, my phone is next to me when I'm sleeping, which I would prefer it not to be, but it is on airplane mode. And I play white noise all night through my headphones. I can't hear anything. And I always think back to the times where I had to share rooms with people that were snoring or like listening to the neighbours on the top floor stomp around all night, and I'm like, wow, I wish I had my headphones to put white noise in. Like, that is a game changer. It's honestly scary what I sleep through now because I just don't hear it.
Yeah, and an eye mask is also great because, again, light environments, if you're in a hostel, you're in a new place that has terrible blinds and doesn't block out anything, an eye mask is a really easy way to control that, and they're so cheap as well, guys. And also when you're traveling on the plane, if you want to get some shut eye, it's really good to chuck that on as well.
Same as well, if you're someone who's like, maybe you're traveling right now and you can't order blue light glasses, just chucking on a hat can be really beneficial as well. If you're in like a hostel that has overhead lights, or you're in an airport during the evening, and that obviously airports are like heaps of fluorescent blue lights, just putting on a hat to kind of like shade your eyes can be really impactful as well, and just to support your sleep cycle so that you can either have a better sleep on the plane or hopefully get a bit more shut eye in the hostel.
Yes, and guys, we'll wrap it up because we could
we
all
could
day
keep going,
about
honestly.
this.
I love a bit of a travel
and
story.
I'm sure, like, we actually just came in today and we're like, let's freeball it. So I'm sure there's things that are going to come up and we're going to be like, oh my God, we missed that.
Yeah.
So if there's things that you were like, oh my God, I thought that would be really important. It probably is, and we just forgotten about it. So please forgive us. But the other thing that I wanted to bring back and just round it off with something that we spoke to in our last podcast is the rule of 3. When you're traveling, you're in new environments, you know, there's different things happening. Your body's adjusting to new environments all the time. New foods, you know, late nights, yada, yada, yada. So if your cycle is a little bit different, abnormal, know that that's okay. Your body's adjusting. Your body is very sensitive to what's going on around it. So don't beat yourself up. Obviously, I really hope and pray that you don't have many cycle challenges, because that can be really difficult whilst you're traveling, especially if it's in relation to things like pain. But if it's, you know, irregularities and whatnot, just know that the rule of 3 is going to come in really handy. And the rule of 3, just to recap, is if it happens once, note it down in your tracker because you're all tracking. If it happens twice, note it down in your tracker. Try not stress about it, as hard as that can be sometimes. Don't freak yourself out. If it happens a third time, this is when we go, okay, is there someone that I could speak to, call? Maybe there's some things that I need to change in my travel regime just to support my body a little bit more. But don't worry about jumping into solution mode and changing things when maybe they don't need to be changed.
My last one before we wrap this up. If you have a big travel day and you're on your period and you're on day 1 of your bleed, the biggest tip that I have is give yourself time, be organised. There is nothing worse than rushing around the airport or trying to get a taxi. when you're on day one of your bleed. I feel like that just stresses you out way more than it needs to. So if you're traveling, you're on day one of your bleed, you've got a big travel day, just know your body's very capable of doing what it needs to do and also travel. Like, you are more than capable of that, but also give yourself time, because I hate rushing when I'm on my period.
100.
But we'll leave that here, guys. It has been so nice to reminisce on our time as little backpackers. That was so fun. And rest in peace my idea of a travel podcast called The Sisterhood of the Travelling Period.
Ciao.